Hello, everyone.
Mhm.
Welcome to Around Town TV. My name is Carla Berlin, and I'm so excited to have with me tonight a friend of mine who happens to be the executive director of a Breath of Hope Lung Foundation. Please welcome Terry Cannon.
Hi,
Thank you, Terry.
Carla. Thanks for
Hello.
having me.
Oh, I am so thrilled. And
Mhm.
our paths have crossed for a long time, but it's so exciting to be a part of a Breath of Hope Lung Foundation, to also have you as a guest. And before we get into that, um, I know a lot of people know you're the queen of executive and nonprofits, but if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your history and background.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny, Carla. Well, I have had quite a few jobs. I've been in the nonprofit business for a long, long time. I know that your mom lived with multiple sclerosis for what, 40 years? And I
Yes.
think our paths may have crossed there. I was at the National Multiple Sclerosis Society for 20 years and
Wow.
planning fundraising events there, like the MS bike rides and MS walks. And then I went over to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and I was their executive director. And that's where I first started working in the cancer space, and really enjoyed that organization and working throughout Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, as part of a big national organization. And now I'm back in cancer, but at a local level with the Lung Cancer Foundation. A Breath of Hope is the name of it. Started here in the Twin Cities, and the one and only executive director, Nancy Torreson, has moved into a part-time position. She's our new director of strategic initiatives, and so I got to shadow her for the last few months before I stepped into the executive director role. And really excited to be here.
Well, and congratulations to Nancy as well as to you. Like I said, you're a trailblazer. I said this offline. She's a trailblazer, and they're lucky to have you leading.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for. I'm so glad that we've always stayed connected, and that we were able to. When I saw this, I actually reached out to you and LinkedIn and said, "How can I help?" And for many of you that are tuning in, you may or may not know my late father, Carl Berlin, died 5 years ago, and he had widely metastatic lung, lymph node, and brain cancer, and we caught it too late. And it was from smoking, and he hadn't smoked in 40 years. He quit when I was 12 for my Christmas present so that he wouldn't die of from smoking and lung cancer. So we'll get into some of that and why you need to support this organization to
Yeah,
help save people like my dad.
yeah.
For those who aren't familiar with what a Breath of Hope Lung Foundation is, do you want to share just a little bit of history and the background on that, and then we'll get into the event?
Sure. Well, speaking of history, I'll go all the way back to how it started when it was a group of 5 patients and their families and their nurse at one of the local hospitals. And they looked around and said, wait a minute, how come all these other cancer patients have so much support? Where's the support for lung cancer patients? And,
Mhm.
I hear that over and over again. And I think part of it goes along with there's so much stigma with lung cancer,
Mhm.
stigma that goes along with smoking and that nihilism of people maybe feeling defeated when they get lung cancer, feeling that maybe they brought it on themselves, when no one deserves cancer, no one deserves lung cancer, no matter your history. But these patients looked around and said, wait a minute, we need support too. And not all of them were smokers, and if some of them were, it doesn't matter, everyone needs support. So they said, well, let's start a 5K and a walk and run, and we'll do some fundraising to support lung cancer patients and offer support and start funding some research, because we know that detecting lung cancer early and researching to have better treatments is how we're going to save lives. So this group started a 5K as a fundraiser for the hospital, and eventually got big enough to form their own 501c3, and they called it a Breath of Hope. So it
Wow.
started as just an event, and now we are a full-fledged organization. They hired their first executive director, and she built an entire team. And today, the organization is funding translational research. We've funded millions of dollars in the research program over the years. We provide support for patients truly boots on the ground support for local patients to help. We've got volunteer drivers that drive people to their appointments if they know that maybe they can get themselves there, but after chemotherapy or their treatment, they might not feel well enough to drive home. So our volunteers can be matched with them to drive them to and from doctor's appointments. We've got peer-to-peer companionship programs. So when someone is going through a diagnosis and they need to talk to somebody and they don't want to, there's not time at the doctor's office to necessarily talk to them, but you just need a friendly ear of someone that's been through this before. We've got volunteers that have signed up that are, maybe done with their treatment, at least a year out of diagnosis, and are there to be a friendly voice at the other end of the phone. We've got patient, family, and support, caregiver support groups. And all of those since COVID, they used to be in person and they've all gone online. So now they're virtual. And our programs, all of these virtual programs are offered nationwide. We've got people from coast to coast, California to New York, and everywhere in between that come on for the support groups. But we are starting to go back to do more in person. And that's one of the goals of mine being a new executive director, is to get back to the point when we can act a little bit more like pre-COVID. We don't want to get away from the virtual because it's so accessible for people. We've removed that barrier of having to travel when you don't feel good.
Yes.
If you're in cancer treatment and you don't feel like going to a support group, but you can still log online, it keeps you connected and gives you that support. But my goal is to go back to more in-person programming too. So those are just a few of the ways that we are supporting patients and their families.
All very, very important and crucial. I wanted to say specifically research, but having taken care of 2 terminally ill people at the same time for over 12 years, whenever I'm looking into organizations for them, it's exactly what you were saying that are so crucial and important, because as a caregiver, not being the one that's sick, I don't know what it's like. I can be the advocate. I can take them to the certain appointments or the support groups or the doctor's appointments, the chemos, that sort of thing. But it's so, so, so important. What is your goal? And I know you became the executive director recently. You've been with the organization now for what, 6, 7 months?
Yep, just 6 months. Well, yeah, almost 7. Gosh, since January, time flies.
It sure does. Do you have a vision or a goal as you move it forward?
Yeah, we are rolling out some pretty amazing initiatives in 2026, and that's part of what Nancy will do in her new role as the Director of Strategic Initiatives, will be to roll out some of these new things, like adding centers of excellence within Minnesota to help healthcare systems. So many people, the healthcare providers, they come to our education programs and groups like our biomarker summits for healthcare professionals. And they talk about some of the barriers to providing reflexive biomarker testing, or a barrier to screening every eligible patient. And that's a conversation we could have too, Carla. And the issue isn't that they don't want to, or that these aren't the best oncologists in every healthcare system around the state. The problem is the lack of a process that streamlines it and is just systematic and built into the system. Things like you and I were talking about your dad, when he's going to his annual physical or healthy, checkups, it would be nice if it was built into the system to say, oh, you're over 50 and have a smoking history, you should get a free low-dose CT scan for lung cancer. Let's get a scan of your lungs. It's covered by insurance if you're over 50 and have a smoking history. So some of those systems just need to be put into place. And if we could implement that, we could save lives. Less than 10% of eligible patients in Minnesota are screened every year. So if we could just even improve that statistic, we know we could save lives by detecting lung cancer early. So what Nancy is going to help us do in this strategic initiative role is create these centers of excellence that will put more systems into place, and we'll partner with healthcare systems that want to be doing the right thing. And we just want to help make that possible.
Well, and one of the things we talked about offline to the point of what you're talking about is I took my dad every year to his wellness visits, physicals. I know they change. He was never asked once if he wanted a CT scan of his lungs or whatever. As I shared with you, Terry, we found out by chance he had a UTI and he was hallucinating, and we took him into the emergency room. They thought maybe he had pneumonia, and they did an x-ray of his lungs, thought maybe they saw scar tissue from when he did smoke, even kind of poo-pooed it. And I said, as soon as we got him well, I had him in, and he did have lung cancer, widely metastatic. And of course, the next place that it can spread and does for many people is the brain. It had already gone into the lymph nodes, and it had already gone into the brain. So if he had had the opportunity, like women do for mammograms, then perhaps we would have caught it and he would be with us.
Yeah. Well, catching it early is key. The good news is, though, for many people, there are new immunotherapies and targeted therapies, precision medicine, we call it. And so even when they're diagnosed with stage 3 or stage 4, it doesn't have to be the death sentence that it used to be. It's still, lung cancer is still the deadliest cancer that there is. Lung cancer, more people die from lung cancer than the next 5 cancers combined. So it's not the number one diagnosed, but it's the deadliest. And if we can catch it earlier, if you can catch it in stage 1 or 2, of course, it's going to be easier to treat. But even now, when it's caught in stage 3 or 4 because of advanced symptoms or by accident, a lot of people will say they caught it by accident because you just don't go in for low-dose CT scans on a regular basis. And you can't unless you have a smoking history and are over 50. So if you do go in for some other reason, you think you have pneumonia or whatever it is, and they happen to see the spots on your lung, if you're diagnosed at stage 3 or 4 and you receive a biomarker test and you have an actionable mutation, which there are more and more mutations being discovered and are treatable, you could receive a targeted therapy that could extend and or save your life. I know plenty of people who are 5, 10, 14 years out from a stage 4 diagnosis because of these new targeted therapies. And that's why research is so important. That's why fundraising for research is so important.
Absolutely. And that is one of the main reasons that we're here. I am so excited that I get to MC the opening ceremonies for a very important event you have coming up here on August 9th. It is called it's your walk and run event, right? For A Breath of Hope?
Correct. We are calling it the Lung Cancer Walk and Run for A Breath of Hope. And it will happen at Lake Harriet Bandshell the morning of Saturday, August 9th. So it starts, people can come at 7:30 and start checking in. The racers should get their bib numbers on if they're there for the chip timed race, because the racing, the 5K and 10K, starts at 8 o'clock. So they'll need to be checked in and lined up and ready to go for the race. And then after that, the walkers can hang out in the participant village at the Hope Hub, go visit all of our sponsors and some of the fun activities in the photo booth and the giant blow up lungs and all of those things that are happening. And then the opening ceremony starts at 9 o'clock. And that's where you come in, Carla.
Yes,
I'm so
I'm
excited you're
honored.
going to be there.
Oh, I'm so honored.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm honored to be a part of it. And for those who are just tuning in and you're hearing us talk about some of the information, I'm going to point, because above this video is all the information, and right at the top is the link to sign up to be a part of it, to get all of the information. So if you've just tuned in and you know we've been online now for almost 15 minutes, and you're like, you can go back and watch this, but also just click on that link. That'll take you right to the information about not only A Breath of Hope Lung Foundation, but the lung cancer walk and run event coming up as well. And
thanks for reminding me of that, because I didn't realize it was right above us. So Thanks
Well,
for pointing that out.
you are welcome. Why is everybody's support so important? Why does it matter?
Why does it matter? Well, first of all, when the meal train kind of dies down and the cards and letters and the well wishes fade away, sometimes people will say, "Oh, you're still fighting lung cancer? How can I help?" And sometimes the best thing that you can tell people to do is empower them to give back. And when you give back and you really do something substantive like fundraise toward a mission that is helping to save lives, you get more out of it than anything. You feel good and you feel like you gave back, and it's a really great thing. But it's a way for those patients and family members who say, "Oh, we got it covered. I've got a ride to the doctor," or, "You know what, we've got in a routine now." Well, guess what? There is still a way that you can give back. There is still a way to get involved. And when somebody says, "What can I do to help you?" say, "Join my team. Come on out to the walk." Or if you can't be at the walk, tell them, "Go walk for me. I'm too sick to get there this year, but please show up." Be part of the community. And we feel so strongly about that community is empowering, and it really does. Having a positive attitude can be a game changer when you're facing cancer. It might not save your life, but it's going to improve your quality of life while you're going through it. And so if you can come out and be surrounded by other people who are like-minded and positive and want to do something to make a difference, come on out to the walk, be a part of making a difference, and help fund the mission. So we feel so strongly that this is important, that now the registration is free for the walk. So you still have to pay if you want to race, because it's chip timed, and there's a timing company, so you can pay for that. But it's free to come out for the walk, because we don't want there to be any barriers to walking. If you want to come, if you're a patient, and you know what, financial toxicity is a real thing. So if you are in the middle of treatment and you're like, "I can't afford to, pay a registration fee to go to the walk, but I really want to be there because it feels good to be surrounded by other people that are lifting you up and lifting your spirits in the middle of a cancer diagnosis," come be with us. All you have to do is sign up for free online, register at that site that you told me is up there.
Yeah,
Register, because we want to get an idea of how many people are coming. But there's no registration fees. And I think that's a really important message to share, because we don't want there to be any barriers. However, if you want to earn a t-shirt, you can fundraise $100. That doesn't mean you have to write a check for $100. It means go ask 10 people to each give you $10. Go ask 4 people to give you $20, or however that math works out. 5. But get to your $100, and it doesn't even have to be from a self donation. If you are, if you're fighting that right now, fighting that financial toxicity, just come be a part of the event, and you have the opportunity to earn a t-shirt and earn lots of other prizes too. We have $1,000 club, which will get you lots of perks, and all of our $1,000 club people will be on stage with you, Carla, and we'll be shouting them out. So lots of incentives. It's going to be really fun.
Yes, and I can't wait to share their names. So not only are you supporting an organization that is it's all about education and research, then you're helping to increase early detection, as Terry talked about previously, and you're empowering patients through education, and your donation provides critical education and other programs and support and advocacy for patients and their families.
Yeah. So one of our most powerful education tools, you can find it at youandlungcancer.com. And it's a website that we co-own with another partner of ours called Mechanisms in Medicine. And they animate all of the education materials. So it's on our website. You can link to it from our website at breathofhope.org. Or you can go directly to youandlungcancer.com. But what's really important, it's a game changer on this educational site, It's a patient education site. And what we know is that most people in America, us included, Carla, were medical, well, maybe not you, because you've been through this a few times with your parents for 12 years, but many people are what is considered medically illiterate.
Yes.
So when you receive that diagnosis, oh my gosh, first of all, is it shell shock to get that diagnosis, but then to understand and absorb what you have just been told about your diagnosis, potential treatments, what, surgery might look like, all of that, it's overwhelming.
Very
And
overwhelming.
So if you go to this website, everything is designed at the 6th to 8th grade education level, and it's available in many formats. So it's animated, it's got subtitles, it's got expert speakers, so you can listen to it, you can read it, you can watch it. It's kind of cartoonish. And it will explain to you, it will break down what is non-small cell lung cancer versus small cell lung cancer. What could a treatment path look like? What are some questions that you should be asking your doctor on your next visit? How to prepare for surgery? What does prehabilitation look like? Some of those questions that you have are explained in layman's terms, just really to help you feel like you can get through this, because we know that a patient that feels like they are part of their medical experience is going to have better outcomes because they're able to follow along in what their doctors tell them, ask them to do. They can help make decisions about their own treatment with their doctor instead of just listening and being told. They can ask smart questions for what they should be asking the doctor if maybe they haven't heard that yet in one of their appointments. Things like, was I biomarker tested before I move forward with a treatment? Is a targeted therapy available for me in my diagnosis? Do I have an actionable mutation? Things like that you should know before you proceed with treatment are really important, and you can learn that by visiting A Breath of Hope.
Well, and I think even like you said, someone like myself who was a caregiver for 12 years, yes, my mom had metastatic breast bone cancer. But then when dad was diagnosed with lung cancer, I've learned a lot from not only in our phone conversations, but even on the show. I don't know if he had a biomarker tested. I know he qualified for Keytruda immunotherapy, but I didn't know. So in many ways, I'm still illiterate. I'm still learning from you, and it's so if you're that person, whether you have a spouse or it's you or a parent or a brother or sister or friend, and you're helping them, what a great opportunity to be able to get your hands on that information so you can make informed decisions and ask questions. You don't want to just go in and be told what to do. You want to be in control of your journey.
Exactly. And for some people, they might say, depending on their age or the stage or what they see the treatments, making your own decision on to be treated or not treated is a decision too.
Yes.
But at least all of the information is there to help you along that journey. And it's there for those caregivers. Like you said, Carla, you're not the one that was diagnosed, but gosh, are you in on every appointment? Right. And and oftentimes when your loved one is sick and maybe even too sick to comprehend what's happening at a doctor's appointment, it's those caregivers that are sitting there, the ones taking the notes and making sure that the next medicine are given at the right time and all of that. So, we offer a caregiver support group too that can be found on our website. And that's a new monthly support group that's virtual. That'll be just for caregivers to help them through the journey, because it's different for caregivers and they need support too.
And it from the time that both of my parents passed away, which was within 9 months of each other, it took me 4 years to really get myself back, because you're in survival mode for so long. And
Has
you're
it
just
been that long? Oh,
Mhm.
I followed your journey, Carla. That was long. It was brutal.
Yeah, mom died 4 years ago in March and dad 5 years ago, June. And
Wow.
I've just, last year was starting to feel more like myself, and this year definitely. And it doesn't mean you don't move forward and you don't enjoy life, but there's a part of you that is in survival mode along with them. And I can't support this even more than what we're talking about because of just knowing what I went through. And one of the things you touched on that I was going to emphasize is that's so important is I can't. There were so many times, and I think I told you this offline. We'd leave a doctor's appointment, and all three of us heard something different. And this is where your website, your organization gives people the tools to prepare for even just a simple going to the doctors, what to ask, how to be prepared. Can you record it on your phone in addition to taking notes? And some of that too is when you're the patient and you're so overwhelmed and you're sick and you're going through treatment, you're not necessarily listening. Sometimes you only want to hear certain things. And I think we each were trying to hear different things. But when three people get in the car and they've all heard something different, that's where a Breath of Hope Foundation comes in to really give you those tools to be prepared.
Yeah. I heard you say something else too, Carla, and it made me think. I know you didn't mean it like this. You said you were in survival mode. And I heard the word survivor, and it made me think, with all of these new targeted therapies, we are creating more and more survivors, which is a good thing. People have the opportunity to live longer with a diagnosis with lung cancer. And with being a survivor comes different needs.
Yes.
And so we have survivor services available, tools available on our website. If you go on our website and look at our services that are available, we now have mindfulness audio companions that you can, whether you're a patient, a survivor, whatever stage you were in, you can download this audio companion and listen. A lot of people get anxiety when they're going to a doctor's appointment or getting a scan, or maybe just in general need a chance to meditate. We've got that audio. We've got mindfulness yoga now that happens virtually once a month. We've got exercise videos that are available to help people. These are not big workout jazzercise videos. These are how to get back in shape after maybe a lung cancer surgery and you're trying to build up muscle again, or just, stamina. So we've got those exercise videos available. And we also have a diet nutrition app that you can download that you can specify your cancer diagnosis and maybe some things that are not working so well for you in eating. If you are having aversions to different foods because of the treatment that you're on, or you need to get more protein in your diet because of, whatever is happening with cancer, you can download that app and it'll do meal prep for you, meal planning for you.
That's
so we've
amazing.
we've got some really amazing tools on the website that are available for patients and survivors.
Oh, that is fantastic. I know today was designed mostly to discuss the walk and the lung cancer walk and run and walk event, excuse me, that's coming up on August 9th. And I'm so thankful of the wealth of knowledge that you've been able to share, because it's all so impactful for whether you're a caregiver, a patient. And what's really interesting that I didn't know until tonight, I thought you said it's not the number one diagnosed, but it's the cancer that seems to take
the deadliest.
more lives. What is the number one diagnosed? Breast cancer? I don't know.
No. I would have to look that up.
Yeah, I don't know either. Sorry to put you on the spot, but I don't know.
I do know that, and I should know that because I've worked even in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
And it's hard to know because depending on how the statistics are pitched, everyone has its numbers to support.
Right.
Yes. And one of the things that I also wanted to make mention on why, for those tuning in, and we've had a nice following while you're looking that up, the research and the early detection and why that's so important. Because of the tools and the advanced research and the targeted therapy, my dad actually was in remission, even with widely metastatic lung and lymph node and brain cancer. What was hard is, as a 76-year-old man, he also was a type 2 diabetic. And he also he had some other health issues. He'd had a heart valve replacement, and then he had a stroke, and he was starting to have strokes. So one of the things that's been really that was difficult for him is that's what shut his body down. But like you were saying, there are so many therapies to keep these cancer patients, even in late stages, living longer lives. And I see, did you just post that?
Um,
No.
our a Breath of Hope team that is following
Oh,
along
thank
posted that.
you.
That's from
Thank you.
Tina, and it is breast cancer. And you know what? I
Okay.
thought it was breast cancer, but I didn't want to say it and speak out of
Same.
turn.
Yes. I didn't want to either, just for that
Yeah.
reason.
I'm like,
But
oh my
I
gosh, I think it's breast cancer, but I don't want to say wrong stats. So thanks for
so
looking
thank
it up, Tina.
you to not making us, yes, Tina,
Yeah.
thank you, because we both knew but didn't, I was with you, and that's why I actually asked you. So I didn't mean to put you on the
Yeah.
spot.
No, no, no.
Yes.
That's good.
Thank you, Tina, and for that. So, isn't that interesting, that that's the number one diagnosed, and would you say the reason so many people, that's the deadliest, meaning lung cancer is the deadliest, is because there isn't early detection?
I would say that's one of the biggest reasons, yes, is because by the time it's diagnosed, it's typically in stage 3 or 4.
Ah, yes, or spread
Yeah.
up even further.
So
Okay.
we know that detecting it earlier is going to save more lives. And right now, it's just a small number of people that are eligible for screening, but we really need to increase. If you're eligible, go get screened. Like
Right.
that's just, we need to get that message out there. There's so many people that wish that they could be screened,
Yeah.
and they can't be. If they've got a family history of lung cancer, maybe they lost a parent and they want to be screened, but they're not over 50 with a smoking history, they can't even get screened, whether insurance covers it or not. It's not an option.
Wow.
So there's a lot of advocacy work that needs to be done just to change some of the protocols. But we know that if we can get that screening up from less than 10%, even if we got it up to 50% of eligible patients, just imagine the number of lives we would save.
Oh my gosh. Yes, because I think I'm going to be 58. Wasn't a smoker, grew up though around a smoker till I was 12.
Yeah.
And of course, back in the day, people could smoke in restaurants, on airplanes.
Mm,
Think about all the secondhand smoke we were around. So
yeah.
what does that mean? I know I'm over 50, and if my insurance covered it, I can't be screened, right? Because I wasn't a smoker. Wow.
That's right.
So
That's right.
advocacy. You're
Advocacy. Yeah.
Yes, we need
There's
to.
lots of other reasons for getting lung cancer too. It's not just about
Right.
smoking. So we say anyone with lungs can get lung cancer.
Mhm.
So that's why it's so troubling to know that there's so much stigma that goes with it associated with smoking, because it's not just a smoking disease. There's Look at the air pollution and the poor
Yeah.
air quality that's been these last few days in Minnesota.
That causes it.
So pollution is causing lung cancer, radon, and in Minnesota we have high incidence of radon. So everyone should have their homes tested for radon, and have your home mitigated if you find that you've got unsafe radon levels in your home. And family history and a genetic predisposition to lung cancer are some of the reasons that we're seeing people diagnosed these days too. So there's many
Wow.
reasons.
Well, and I have a dear, dear friend who back in 2009 lost her husband at age, he was 30, I believe. Yes, he was 30, turning 31, and never smoked a day in his life. But what they think is in college, he did a lot with fertilizing, lawn
Right.
care, that sort of thing. And I mean, they don't know for sure. That was one of
Yeah.
the things they attributed it to.
Pesticides.
Yes.
Yeah. Poisons, chemicals. Yeah. Work hazards are really big. A reason anything that you can breathe in that can get in your lungs could potentially be a culprit of causing lung cancer. So it's
So
not just a smoker's disease.
right. So nothing to be ashamed of. And
Right.
come help us, not only on August 9th, but there's other events. Go click on that link above this video and go to their website. There's a wealth of information. If you have any questions and you're not comfortable messaging us here, I can get you to Terry and her team over at a Breath of Hope Lung Foundation. If you're interested in signing up for the cancer walk and run event, The link is above, but they have other events. If you can't make it August 9th, you can still support it. You don't have to be there in person. There's so
Right.
many
Just
ways.
go online and don't donate right now, whether you're in town or can be there on the 9th or not. I've heard from a lot of people that are like, oh, we have a wedding out of town that weekend. Guess what? There's a big donate button.
Right. Click on the link. You don't have to be
It's
there.
okay. It's okay.
Oh, exactly. What else haven't we covered that you were hoping to share with the viewers?
You know what? I just think it's really important for everyone to know that there is an opportunity to get involved with the Breath of Hope. If the walk doesn't work for you for whatever reason, it's timing or location, reach out to us and look at our website for information, education information. Share it with your loved ones who might be eligible for screening. Tell them about it. And contact us about volunteering. If you know someone who's facing lung cancer right now and you're trying to figure out how can I give back, volunteer. You could sign up to be one of those drivers that's bringing people to their appointments. If you have had lung cancer in the past, or if you are in remission and a survivor and want to be that peer companion, sign up as a volunteer. Come into our office and help with some office projects and help us prep for the walk and get ready. Or we've got committees. We've got our gala committee. Our gala's coming up in November. There's so many year-round opportunities to volunteer with a Breath of Hope. We'd love to welcome anyone. We'll work with you to find a way to get you involved.
Oh, that's great. And there's so many ways. So, depending on your time commitment, your interest level, your why. For me, I lost my hero at age 76.
Mm,
Don't let's try to get that number to come down through early detection and research. That those are two, and advocacy. And
mhm.
that's not easy. It can be exhausting, but if we do it together and we all work together, I do think we can make a bigger
Yeah.
impact. But we've got a lot of work to do. So let's get to it, right?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
get to it. Thank you, Carla. I'm so excited that you're going to be at the event with us too.
Oh, you are so welcome. Any parting words or things that we didn't mention? I don't want to miss anything before we.
You know what? I know that I have an opportunity to be back on with you in a
Yes,
couple
we
of months
do.
for the gala. So if
Yes,
there's anything that we missed,
we'll catch up then.
I will have it on a list.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for your time tonight in this. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We've had a nice crew online where we go live to multiple platforms at once simultaneously. And Around Town TV Live is Minnesota's the Twin Cities longest airing television community showcase. And that would not be possible if it wasn't for all of you viewers and supporters. And of course, the great businesses, organizations, and people like Terry that are able to join me and share their cause and messages. So thank you to the viewers. And again, thank you, Terry, for joining me tonight.
Thanks,
And to you,
Carla.
Tina, you're welcome. And please tune in. I know we have two shows this week. Tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., we are going to share more on the Panda Project, a walk to end veteran suicide, another great cause. So we'll look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Central Time, right here on Around Town TV. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.